Just Joe.
Who's Joe who?
Just Joe talk.
Joe talk.
Before
Joe.
we introduce, yeah, I'll just say something weird. I don't give a fuck. And I'll just be like, "Are we recording? Are we?"
We are recording actually right now.
Oh, you didn't want to put that in there, but
Oh, I definitely want to put that in there now because you're just like I'm gonna say something weird, and I want to know
I'll
what it
say
was.
I'll save it.
I'll say, he says I'll save it. I'll put it.
I got some
And you
interesting
put
Amazon
it.
packages today. I can't talk about them right now though. I got to check them out to make sure they're legit
Come
first.
on, what is it? What is
I can't
it?
tell
Tell
you.
you. You can't
It's
tell
gonna
me.
be, she's gonna be a co-host one day.
What is
I
it?
got my
Product? Yeah.
blow up doll in it.
Was it some products? I was gonna say, is it products from AdamandEve.com or something?
Oh, she's gonna. I got a blow up doll, bro. We're gonna fucking test her out and test her. See what
No,
kind
no,
of
no, no,
action.
no, 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 no. If you test her out, I'm not testing her out. Do you understand?
No,
I'm not.
I mean test her out on co-host on the show, man. We need a
Oh,
co-host.
oh, as co-host. Okay,
Yeah,
I
we
can do
definitely are
that.
not running a train on the fucking blow up doll. Yeah, it
Oh
goes
God, we're
there.
off. We're
It
off to
goes
a
there.
we're off to a terrible start on this week's
A
episode,
terrible
bro.
start or a great
Great start.
start?
Great start. We're off to a great start.
Great,
Optimism. Optimism.
great start. So what's been going on, man?
Oh, living the dream, dreaming to live. Working with planning out a support equals support movement, which is coming out here soon. Stay in the shadows, so to speak. You're not going to reveal all the details of what that's all about, but if you're in the know, you're in the know.
All right,
And
that's the
planning that
mantra
out.
around here.
We got the new camera. Oh, where's the new camera? Hold on, you stall real quick. Let me find the new camera.
Yeah, yeah. Dev's got his new toy and shit. Like me personally, I would get frustrated and probably throw that motherfucker against a wall, yo, with all the shit that entails of getting content and then sitting down and editing and doing all that and waiting. Sometimes the computer locks up. Dev but freaks out. I have to talk him down off a ledge and shit sometimes. So it gets
Before we even started this show, you were like that. You were like, "Oh, Dev, like, nah, man, chill out, chill, man. It's not worth it. It's not worth it." I'm like,
he, he wants to he wants to go all out with it and shit.
"Oh, I about
So
smashed the keyboard today." Yeah,
yeah, it gets frustrating.
yeah, but no new camera, which is gonna allow us to shoot 4K video, take amazing pictures, and we're gonna have more of those for more of our posts and stuff. Because Coach, man, I love the effort and I support it, man, of going out to that our our basketball team down there we got in that church league. But like the picture quality, man, it ain't looking the hottest. I gotta be real. The photography skills, not apex. That's all I gotta say. Not apex.
Well, when you come down there and then you make it a plus because I'm not a photographer. I just
I
take the
would.
phone and take a shot.
I would if I wasn't, at the slave depot, every day. I would be there, man. I would be there. I would.
We'll see how it goes, but yeah, definitely the kids are up to par. We went 2-0 last past week. Our first official sponsorship. We bridging the gap. We love the kids around here. You know what I mean? So we try to help out. I coach a lot, so we're gonna integrate that with doing a lot of things. We're gonna be heading down to Hoop Fest actually with a team, and we're gonna cover them.
Mm.
So, and that revolves around something you were talking about. We won't go too in depth with our campaign of support equals support, but you guys will see what that's all about here in the coming future, and hopefully you can be a part of it.
Yeah, right. I'm looking. We're always looking for people that are doing things in the community. Like I said, always hit us up on Facebook, either Coach or me, or Bridging the Gap. We do answer messages directly to the Bridging the Gap page. Please hit us up anytime if you have something you want to come on the show or what have you. Please just send us a message. But speaking of basketball and the kids balling out, going 2-0,
Mm-hmm.
the Toronto Raptors are now the champions.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's great. I'm happy about it because I was sick and tired of the Golden State Warriors winning every year. It was just boring to me. It
They,
made boring basketball.
They had a hell of a run, man. I give it to them. They assembled a nice team, and then going out there, you know me personally, I don't like that stacking a team and like getting.
Mm.
I mean, just it was just outrageous adding Kevin Durant to the mix. But it always goes to show what I always tell the kids, the underdogs, which I coach a lot of underdogs in my lifetime, and we came out and threw monkey wrenches into people's plans. Is don't ever stop giving up because things happen. Like the
Mm.
we don't want to see anything that happened to Kevin Durant or
Right.
Klay Thompson, but injuries happen. That's part of the game. You just got to keep grinding it out. And I think Toronto did an excellent job in doing that. Even though they gave Kawhi the MVP, which he deserves. But I think there's two people on that team like Van Vliet and Siakam. I think that like if you're a coach with any worth a grain of salt, you're in that locker room saying, "Hey, bro," to both of them, we couldn't have did this shit without you, man. No
Yeah.
lie,
Well,
no lie.
well, that's what we talk. Well, that's what you talk about for your coaching philosophies, and what we both talk about is next man up, and like role players. I mean, you're only as good as your weakest link, especially in basketball. I mean, football, you could get away with some stuff if you scheme it right, but basketball, man, like you got five dudes. You know what I mean? Like you can't scheme. You can't scheme if you got weak players on that. But they all got to play solid, and they did. And
Yeah.
that's great. And we go now to change topics to Anthony Davis because
Oh
now
yeah,
we're
Anthony.
the off season is officially here for NBA, and the Lakers appear to be stocking up, getting Anthony Davis, and then he traded for a player that played for Charlotte, and they got rid of Lonzo Ball. Or not
Yeah, they got a
Lonzo.
lot of Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball, and Brandon Ingram, sending them over to the Pelicans, and a hell of a lot of draft picks. The Pelicans are in good shape. I mean, they got the first draft. They're obviously going to take Zion, and then they have the number 4, which is up for air because, like we talked about, and we see every time about in the draft, they don't know who anybody's going to pick. We proved that philosophy over the last
Right.
2 years of doing our
Their
NFL
NFL
draft.
draft. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. They don't know who they're getting. I mean,
yeah.
what was the thing? I got like three right or something.
Oh, all I know is I got the most right out of even the
Ah,
expert.
yeah, yeah. Be
You
quiet.
got
You know,
you got
you
two
know.
right in the top
10,
10
which
or
was what we
something
were
like
doing.
that.
Yeah, what we were doing. Yeah, that was our
And
pretty
I
much
think
the
I got the most right in the first round, even from the so-called experts.
first round.
You don't know what a
Well,
team is thinking in the
to be
draft.
fair, I didn't make a 32 round mock draft, so you couldn't say that you had
Ah.
more than me because I didn't make one. I didn't play, so you can't say you beat me if I wasn't even playing.
Oh,
That's what I'm
hey,
saying.
bro, I played the game. You
That's
got
right.
to get off the bench and play the game to
That's
win.
right. That's right. But I can't say you beat me. All you can say is, oh, I didn't play against Dev yet.
And it's speaking of, yeah, the Lakers are doing what they're doing right now. Is they're going to build something right now because obviously LeBron has a lot of pull. He wanted AD, and he gave up the pieces. The Lakers gave up the pieces. There was a little turmoil going on there. Magic Johnson left. I think they got it together now, where they're basically going to do what LeBron wants because they want to win right now. They're not trying to build. The Pelicans are trying to
Of
build.
course. That's
Yeah,
what you. I mean, if you bring in LeBron James, it's because you're trying to win right now.
right,
I don't think any
right.
team brings in LeBron James because, oh, yeah, we're going to rebuild. Nobody rebuilds LeBron James. You get LeBron James and you make a team around him that he can play with and say, okay, winning games. And that's
Right.
what the Cavs did when he came back to the Cavs, right? Like, they weren't like, oh, yeah, let's rebuild a team. LeBron was like, no, I want a team to win with now.
Yeah, they want. He came in with a list of things, and I think that the relationship that was up in the front office, they couldn't get on the same page. That's why last year ended like how it did. Even if he was healthy, I don't think they had enough to. I don't think he could have pulled that one off. There just wasn't enough. So there was some injuries on that squad, also. Oh, well, speaking of that, like when you're building that, you're not thinking draft. You're just throwing away your draft picks. You don't give a shit. Get the player you want. Get in free agency. They're going to try to get Kawhi. Nobody knows what Kawhi is going to do, the MVP. And then they're going to try to get somebody maybe like Kemba Walker, bring Kyrie, match him up with them, and then just move on. So, but in the draft, there's some interesting story. Everybody sees Zion, but the guy that is interesting to me is Ja Morant. He's probably the second best player in the draft, probably going to be
Mm.
picked number 2 by Memphis, which isn't that Jordan's team, Memphis, the Grizzlies?
Mm, Jordan?
Yeah,
No, no.
I
Jordan played for the Bulls.
No, 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 no.
Uh,
He's a
uh,
owner. He's a owner. I don't know if it's the
oh,
Grizz.
I thought you were talking about Michael Jordan. I said Michael Jordan's team. Like, no, no, no. He played for the Bulls.
No, no, no. He owns a team. I don't know if it's. I don't think it's the Grizz. It might not be the Grizzlies. But either way, John Morant, his story is interesting. He's been overlooked all of his life. His dad pretty much handled some things for him as he's seen that he was playing with a basketball all the time. So his dad went and invested and said, "Hey, I'm going to train." No, his jaw came to his dad and said, "Can you help me get better at basketball?" Because his dad played basketball, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll help you." So they started training. He started noticing, oh, he's got some skill. He went and put up paved his backyard, put some hoops up, and then just made it a chill spot for the neighborhood kids to come hang out and play, which is all also a deterrent for them to go out in the streets and do dumb shit. So I respect him for that. But he started training him, and he seen he was smaller. He started, working on his build and all that. And in all actuality, he was a great basketball player, but he was overlooked. He was on an AAU team with Zion. So
Mm-hmm.
Zion was getting all the attention, and Ja was getting overlooked all the way up to the process of going to college, and he got discovered by accident.
So, are we saying this is like the next Khalil Mack basketball caliber player, like the guy with a chip on his shoulder? You know what I
That's
mean?
yeah, that can come in there and do some damage. Oh yeah,
Mm.
he could do some damage. And what how just like topping on this is just one thing that always sticks in my mind for people. That's for anybody doing anything. It ain't got shit to do with sports. It just I relate it to sports. If you're like he wasn't getting picked by anybody. He had no offers at all to go to college.
Mm-hmm.
A D1 coach was down at Murray State. D1 who he was ended up playing for was down there looking at a talent, and he asked, "Hey man, where can I get something like a concession stand?" He went and got some chips, and he heard basketball playing. He's like, "I'm down here. Let me." He got to wait for a flight. He goes down there and sees Ja, gets on the phone real quick, calls the coach, like, you got to get down here right now. We got to get this kid before somebody else finds him. And then he finds out his story, and then he goes on and he grows, and he gets 2 inches after that. So it's a whole thing to this story. Like, he wasn't even looked at, and I like the way that it's developing, and hopefully he'll have an NBA career.
That is an
Great.
amazing story. I wish
Yeah.
I could get an extra 2 inches.
Oh, bro, you got that coming. I seen the thing. We have a joint Prime account for Bridging the Gap, and they said that you ordered some extendo shit the other
I
day.
wasn't. I wasn't talking about 2 inches. I wasn't talking about 2 inches in man meat, bro. I was talking about 2 inches in height. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
it gets
yeah,
it gets
yeah,
it
yeah.
gets it gets tiring having to show up to the function wearing heels, and all your friends are like, bro, why are you wearing heels? Like, so I can be taller. Like, oh, God, like, like I gotta wear
I wish
pumps
I was
everywhere.
a baller. I wish what's how that song go, taller or
I
whatever
wish I
that
was a
sound.
baller, shot call. I don't know. I gotta move this. The pair. If you see here, look at this. Completely white faced, man. I'm white. Like this is like
Yeah, we
next
know
level
you're
white.
white, Dev.
Yeah, but like, do you see my face right now? I'm like next level white here. Like
Yeah, you're
I
in
gotta
the
shut the blinds. The sun has cometh for me, so I gotta shut the blind here real quick to get the whiteness off. But before we do that, we were talking about sports, and I'm gonna stay in the white light just so I can keep my white face on. But you know, women's sports. We're talking about equal pay now. Me and you had a conversation before about WNBA and soccer. And the gap, the wage gap is closing, but in professional sports, it's still very much alive. You want to start dabbling in that, and then I'm gonna grab these. I'm gonna grab this curtain here and get rid of this.
Yeah, definitely the gender pay gap is it's been closing. You look at the statistics. I'm a statistics guy. I like to see the numbers. I don't know. You kind of like want to believe in them, but they could be altered. Numbers could be altered for whatever reason. But it's shrunk since like the 80s. It was around 33%, and just in general, just in women working, pay and all that, and it's now around like 11%, which shows that it's creeping up. You can see if you Google it and you go look at some facts, you'll see the jobs that they're talking about, like which ones, whether it's a doctor or a physicist or whatever it is. They show the gap in how it's closing in the professional world of that manner. But when you
Mm-hmm.
go into professional sports, it's huge disconnect in that, and that's what's going on in professional like basketball. I had a conversation with somebody that's close to professional basketball. I can't really say their name. One day they're trying to get the clearance for them to talk about it. Maybe I can do a one-on-one with them. But for right now, they were just giving me information and telling me about some of the stuff. And they were just saying like the difference. And this is what people don't understand. They say, well, oh, and I kind of actually got called a woman sympathizer when I was in a group
A
talking
woman
about a woman
sympathizer.
sympathizer.
Coach. So it's so bad to sympathize with women because they're not people or anything. No, why would you want to sympathize? They're monsters. How
Oh, the
dare you
women got him
sympathize?
though.
How
The women
dare
got
you? Yeah, yeah, right. Oh, of course the women came and took their jobs. But I'm saying like, oh man, how bad of you to want to like defend women. Oh,
But the
so
dude
horrible.
didn't even understand. What he wasn't understanding is the women are not saying, "Hey, give us LeBron James contract." They're saying doing it like a per capita type thing, like a percentage. They're getting let 20% less than like the median household. Like the number one pick in the 2019 draft, Jackie Young out of Notre Dame, is getting $53,000. That's 20,000 below the U.S. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
being
but
a Oh, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say. I mean, like 53,000. Play that professional sport. Whenever you have like men's sports that are getting paid, like base contracts for NFL players. What'd you say it was for her? 500.
No, $53,000.
53 and in the NFL a rookie like a bare minimum contract deal unless you're not on the practice squad to be on the roster is 500,000 to
Yeah,
be a base player. That's what I'm saying.
basketball too.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying. So you're saying that women's sports are getting paid, and a number one pick, one of the most talented players, is getting paid 50K, and
50K.
and then base players that in the NFL probably won't even last 2 seasons, are getting signed on for 500,000. Yeah, I gotta say,
It's gross.
I'm just going on a limb. I think there's some pay inequality in women's sports.
There definitely is,
I
and that's what they're fighting over.
I mean, I don't know how anybody could honestly say that there isn't either and call you a women's sympathizer. I mean, they're going to say what? Less people are watching women's sports. I mean, that's the common argument I hear, right? What do you got to say to that? I mean, that's the argument I hear all the time is, well, nobody watches women's sports. So,
Yeah, but the adjustment to that, and here's the kicker though. But in men's bat, you adjust it to that. They're not saying they want $1 million
mhm.
LeBron James contract. That's not what they're saying. They want it equal to the percentage of the revenue that they bring in.
Right, of course.
So they're saying the NBA spends 50% of their revenue to pay their players. The WNBA only pays 25%. They
Right.
want to get that gap bound. That's what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And this dude didn't understand that. So he's like, oh, it doesn't bring in enough women. Nobody watches saying what you were saying. And then, but that's just not the facts. The facts are that you have to look at the numbers and say they are not getting paid to be a professional athlete in the same bracket and percentage of revenue being brought in as the men. It's just
Right.
that simple.
Oh, it is. It is that simple. And you're right. I mean, it really should be by a percentage of the revenue brought in by the league. I get it because you are right. What I mean, especially in like the WNBA, they're not bringing in as much attention as the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And which I always think it's funny is because one's called the national. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna be this. What is it? The word the whenever someone's like a libtard, I don't know if that's the right term, but like I'm saying, like it's funny how one's called the NBA and then one's called the WNBA. You
Mm.
know, they
Oh, that's
like
good.
like
But
like
how would
like
you
the other one.
decipher it?
Well, they should add an M to NBA so that way you got the Men's National Basketball Association and the
Oh, you're,
Women's National. I'm just saying, I want equality,
oh
man. I'm
my
about
God.
equality. And
You're
while we're
about
at
to
it, we
get
need to
hit.
tear down. While we're at it, we need to tear down all the statues of Confederate flag or
you're
Confederate generals, and also
you're
Donald
going
Trump
way.
needs to stop banning Donald Trump needs to treat Mexican people better. But anyway, that's besides the point. No, that totally is. But what I was
Another
saying,
factor in it.
right? Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
No, you go
No, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead. I insist.
Oh, I was going to
All right,
move
now
on
I'm
to the
gonna go.
women's soccer. Go
All
ahead.
right, let me go now.
All
Being a
right, go
dick.
ahead.
No, but I was gonna say is it's totally absolutely true in what you're saying, and that you have to, and you were saying that the pay isn't equal, um,
Mhm.
for the men's league, and I mean, you're saying 50,000 to play basketball, right, in the women's league. I mean, there are people that have jobs, that like are making more than 50K a year.
Well,
They
it's
have
20,000 below the U.S. median
median income.
household,
So,
yeah, income.
so like the average in the WNBA. Now, what's actually that's another question because you were saying a first round pick was getting paid 50K, right?
50K, yeah.
How much are ladies being paid below that aren't first round picks like core players, like like basically the roster filler players?
Like 41,000.
41,000 for
Yeah,
that?
gross. Yeah, gross.
Which is
Yeah.
kind of weird because it doesn't seem like there's much of a like. It's almost weird because it's like I know the difference between like I mean at an NFL level, right? First round picks can make like $13 million, $20 million, right? Am I not
Right.
mistaken? Something like that in a deal. And
Yeah.
the seventh round pick players make like 500K, like we were just talking about. So
Yeah.
it's really weird because like for the women's basketball, there's not much difference between a first round pick and a core player. And if you're a team building down at like in WNBA, why even overpay for a player whenever the rates are that low? You have a
Right.
monopoly over top of them.
And that's the fight that they're having because the NBA is doing that with at 50% of their revenue, and they're only doing 25%. So that's why you don't see the difference in the gap. You know what I mean? Like you bust your ass to be the number one pick in the WNBA. What's the what's the
What's the payoff? Is what you're saying?
yeah, what's the payoff for it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
You could just be a fourth round pick in the draft, the women's draft, and then you'll still get paid for. Like I mean, it's $10,000 difference. Do you know what I mean?
That's about it. That's
Yeah, and
about
like,
it. You're right.
and $10,000 is a good lump sum of money, but in terms of like an annual salary, like I mean, I think about it, like $10,000. I mean, you could eat that away in no time.
It's probably a hundred something dollars a check how they get it in sports.
Yeah,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, right.
But
Exactly. And
it's not.
especially in basketball, because they're probably like in basketball, professional basketball too. I mean, just like in football, you're probably getting paid by the game,
Yeah.
right?
Or they get a
That's
weekly check.
right, and that's what I'm saying. So like, if they miss games or whatever, do you think that check gets cut? Do you know what I'm saying?
Um,
Like, I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
but
That's
that's
a
what I'm
good
saying.
question.
I'm just thinking about that because I know how it is in the professional level. Like maybe like you miss games, they cut a part of that check down, like what you're supposed to earn because all the stipulations in your contract and whatever. I
I
wonder if
guess
women's
that's
basketball
where
it's
the
that way.
guarantees come in,
Right.
like guaranteed money, or yeah,
So women's basketball is the guaranteed money 50K
I don't
or
know.
is that the base? That's what
I
that's
think
crazy.
that's I think it's pretty much probably the base is around like 45,000, and she's just in between it for being the number one pick.
That's
But it's
crazy.
just that, yeah, it is what it is. And they got a lot of this going on, going from NBA to soccer. Okay, so the ladies, congratulations to the ladies because they spanked Thailand the other day, 13-0. It went on, humbled it down a little bit to 3-0, and it was raising a lot of hate to them because they said that they went out and did that because of their fight with because 13-0 in a soccer game, you kind of pull,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
it's
That's
pretty
kind of like
merciless.
putting it on. So to me, I don't give a shit. Go out there
Yeah,
and make
run the
them
score.
people, yeah,
Run the
run
score
it.
up. That's what I'm saying. It's like until the last 5 minutes of the game or something, you run the score up because you
Run it
just
up.
run it up because it's like you put yourself in this position. If you're not gonna stop me, I'm not gonna take my foot off the gas. We've seen that in football too many times in like any sport where the one team was like, all right, we're three scores up, let's take our foot off the gas, and then what happened?
Play
The
it
run
safe.
the run game got stomped, and then Michael Vick goes down the field and throws like three like insane touchdowns off the run, and all kinds of crazy shit, and you get screwed. Like that's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. So you keep your foot on the gas until at least the last 5 minutes. I think in any sport, you just do that.
Yeah, it's a clock management coming from a coach. Like we'll just say in football, it's the same in any sport, just different times and different ways of doing it. In football, you got different type of offenses. You got like a 4-minute offense when you're in the lead, depending on what the lead is, and then you got your 2-minute offenses, what depending on what the situation. It's all situational on how you do it. You do it during first half of games. You try to manage the clock. There's always clock management things depending on how you're winning or how you're losing. So, but to me, it seems like, and I don't care. Like the people are hating on it. I don't get it. It's the World Cup. And there was something that was brought, like in saying that the women do have a case. They actually have a discrimination case about money, about being paid different, and they filed it this year, March 8th. Now things are coming out like today, just before we came on with this story, something came out that the CBS News reported that the French, the security French of where the World Cup's at, the French are in charge of that. So they're running security, and they have it on tape of the French security saying, go run the normal checks that they would run if it was a men's World Soccer Cup. And they saying, nah, don't worry about it. It's just the women. You know what I mean? So that is a big thing to say. You know,
that's messed up almost. I mean, it is messed up.
And especially that the women are since they won in 2015, the women are bringing in more revenue than the men's world soccer team. They're bringing in more.
Which is crazy, but also, you know, like, well deserved. I don't know. I never really got into soccer, you know, enough. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are like into FIFA, love that damn game to death, like Madden, and I just can't get into it. Like, I can't get into soccer. But you know, I can understand it though, and I've seen maybe I don't know. I would just enjoy watching women's soccer. I feel like more than men's. I don't know.
I watch anything that's competitive. Dude, I was watching I didn't even know the sport existed. The other day, there's no basketball on, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, let me find something. I'm like scrolling through ESPN. Boop. There's four guys in the middle of a basketball court with like one of those fucking bungee things you jump on to, like in gymnastics. It's called like slam ball, but it's official. It's like college. They were college, like Texas A&M playing like Auburn. And they're slapping a ball into the middle of this thing, and I couldn't figure out what it was, but like how they counted score, because I was only watching it for like 10 minutes. But I couldn't figure out what it was, or how they were keeping score, what meant for a score. But it was interesting. It was competitive, so I was watching it, man. I just watch anything that's competitive and you keep a score.
Well, yeah,
I love it.
my Gram does the same thing. She watches The Price is Right, and that's pretty competitive.
Oh yeah, everybody has their competitiveness in something.
Right. To watch, I mean, like I was at the bar the other day and baseball was on. I couldn't watch it. I was like,
No, I hate watching it. Playing it's fun. I played it for years, but I hate watching.
Going to a baseball game and watching it, I think, is fun. But you know, I mean, it's still like, when you go to a baseball game, it's still like they're trying to keep you alive by like putting up stuff on the thing. It says, "Everybody, clap your hands."
Yeah, it's
like,
a pastime,
right? It's just stuff to keep you alive, because they literally know the game is boring.
Yeah, you go to that with a couple friends, you know, to maybe catch up or something. Like, you guys ain't been able to catch up. Something you could.
It's a nice atmosphere though. Like, going to a baseball game, it's a nice atmosphere. You go, like you said, you go with a couple friends. You're sitting there. There's like this competitive game that you kind of like, you're paying attention to, but it's not like something you have to constantly be paying attention to. It's not like football.
No.
When you're watching a football game, you got to be paying attention to like every play. Do you know what I mean? Like baseball, you're just basically waiting for someone to hit the damn ball.
And that's baseball is like, I can't watch it now during October. You know what I mean? When they're going for the World Series, it gets like you can watch it because the excitement's there and they're chasing something.
The stakes are there.
And you start seeing a lot different baseball being played. So that's just like basketball. I don't follow basketball all year unless, you know, I'll watch my Knicks if their game comes on and I can get a hold of that or go watch it. Or I'll watch a game of the week or something every now and then. But as far as like watching it every time it comes on like I would do for football, I can't do it until the playoffs.
Especially basketball, because there's just so many damn games to follow. So many.
Yeah, it's a lot. But in speaking on that, that's just the women's fight right there. And I think that they do deserve, if they're bringing in more money, they need to sit down and they need to figure that out, get the women more money because they need to be paid. And that's
at least equal to the revenue that they're bringing in percentage wise.
Yes.
And I think what that definitely is that we have people, men or you know, people. I'm not going to say they're men. I don't know who's in control of what league, but you have people that are the owners of these leagues that are basically keeping they know that they have these people, these women that want to play this sport for money, and they're kind of subjugating them and, you know, taking advantage of them and saying, "Oh yeah, you want to play this sport for money? Bring it in, and we're only going to pay you a percentage, not even equal." So we make all the revenue.
Rich white men own it. There's no doubt about that.
I mean, I bet, I guarantee it, but you know me, I don't know, so I'm not gonna like guarantee that. That's all.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna say that. You know,
you're gonna say that. You're gonna say, okay.
I'll stand by that.
Well, you might have done the research. I don't know. I don't watch soccer. You might have.
Oh, speaking of. Something that happened in that manner too, that happens like this was a big thing that kind of got swept under the rug. The owner, or not the owner, the guy that put together the team, he's an African dude. During the celebration out in Golden State, he was going to get on the court, and he got stopped by the sheriffs. They thought he was just a fan, but he is the general manager of the Toronto Raptors. He was just trying to get the, and so some kind of, ensuing some kind of little violence went on. Yeah, a little pushing and shoving, a couple things. And in saying that, though, the conversation was had around a lot of social media things are saying, like, why did that happen? That wouldn't happen to anybody, because, to be honest, in professional sports, and when I was just saying that it's that club, it's that rich white man's club that owned it, but the majority of it is owned by that.
Yeah.
And then it was just that conversation of seeing people don't get recognized. Like, they should know exactly who that man was. You know what I mean? If he's in the crowd security, knowing he's the general manager, he's sitting by people, he has the credentials, he gets down. So, but they were just saying, like, it being a sport that is ran by those that you don't get recognized as being a woman or a person in color in the managerial or the positions of power, you're just recognized as the players and the ones that are making, you know what I mean?
So that's why he got recognized as a fan, even though he's the GM of it,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that would be the equivalent of, like, during a Raiders game if Reggie McKenzie. Well, when Reggie McKenzie was the general manager, he's no longer. But when Reggie McKenzie was the general manager and he ran down the field, someone stopped him and said, "No, Reggie, you can't go down the field." And he said, "Why? I'm the GM of this, of this football team." Yeah. And they're like, "No, you're not." And they're like, "You're just some fan." They throw him back into that'd be basically the equivalent, which is crazy,
Yeah, it'd be it would be the equivalent, and you got to know who. You would just know who's in the crowd during those situations. They have meetings, something that
if you're a security guard, you think you would know.
Yeah, this is my section.
Well, hell, if you're local, you should know.
It happened in Golden State.
Oh, it happened in Golden State.
It happened in California.
But still, I mean, that's like what you're briefed on. Like, you're like, hey, by the way, it's like one of the biggest television events, of the year. The NBA Finals. And they basically point out, like, here's the big guys.
Yes,
I mean, during the game, like, during the broadcast, which is probably put up with that big jumbotron thing on the top above them, there's probably a screen where, like, they randomly pan to the GM and say, "This is the GM," blah blah blah. Like, no one saw that. Like, no sheriff was like, "Oh yeah," like, watching the screen, like, "Oh, that's the GM."
Trust me, they know they have security protocol where they have their own security also, and they work together. So trust me, they knew, they just didn't recognize who he was. They knew he was in that section. Once they seen him out of that section, they didn't know who he was, is what I'm saying.
Right, they didn't recognize him, yeah. Well,
yeah.
I mean, and like you said, the confrontation got a little physical, right? There was some pushing.
Yeah, there was some pushing and shoving. I'd have rumbled. I'd have been like, "We just won the championship." I'm rumbling the police.
Yeah, rumble the police, like you run out of the way, shove them out the way, and go to your teammates. Because I guarantee you, all the basketball players, man, they would bail you out. Like if they saw you, they'd be like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "That's the come here, like that's the GM."
Right, it would go away. It would go away if you didn't do anything crazy. If you were just like, "Yo, get off me." You know what I mean? What are you doing? I just wanted it would go away if they tried to pursue it. They wouldn't pursue it that much. So we'll just see what happens. But other than that, I just think that, there's just a lot of imbalance in sports for women, people of color. It's just that club that needs to be broken up. I mean, you need to start throwing some equal opportunities in there. Break up that club.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a conversation actually that I had with a coworker of mine.
Oh, okay.
And not about black people in general, and like owning things and stuff. And he was saying, like, because he said something about like how black people are just, like, they're stupid or something, and like the
what?
white listen, the white people above them are taking advantage of them because they keep them dumb, right? And I said, no, it's not that. I said there's systems in place that they have been a part of, and they're slowly climbing out of it. But they have to build generational wealth, because 50, 60, 70 years ago, 50 years ago, black people couldn't build generational wealth. It was hard. It was super hard.
Well, you still can't now.
Right.
You can't it's two different, like what you're saying. You have the opportunities if you're with certain type of crowds, but if you're somebody that's just doing on the grind, you still have the crazy obstacles to try
Oh
to
no,
do
I
that.
know, and I agree. But I'm saying it's slowly becoming easier because you have black people that are getting like Hove and all of them who are going and getting money and starting to build generational wealth. And then from there, they have a basis of people where they're gonna bring in, people of like their ethnicity that say, okay, now we can help you take care of what you need to do and help you get to a place where you need to be, right? And from there, you can build generational wealth, kind of like how, like you said, the White Boys Club got together, and like they owned the stuff and
Right.
everything. Eventually, I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna happen all at once, right? But I'm just saying, like now, you have it where you have the basic signs, like maybe someday, someone's going to buy a basketball team, a black man's going to buy a basketball team,
Right.
or a football team or whatever. You're going to have more of those where it's going to be like more balanced in the racial backing, where you're going to, it's going to be hard because there's going to be the like you said, the white boys club that's not going to want that to particularly happen. But
Right.
I think inevitably for the right price, and if they build generational wealth, it's going to. Like I had that conversation. Now,
Yeah, I think they'll.
but he used, and my friend, I apologize for him because I don't know if he really meant what he said. Because he said, like, I think black people are stupid, and I was like, what do you mean stupid? And I was
Right.
like, and I think he was meaning more in the manner of like they don't know how to build these things and whatever. And I was like, yeah, but there's a system in place not just for us, it's like just for everybody, poor people
Right.
nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yeah, especially blacks, but poor people now, like that subjugates us, that keeps us poor.
Right. Yeah, he definitely doesn't understand, and that's what we're talking about right here. This is
Mm,
obvious. This is a very important um, discussion that needs to be had with him. Him saying that's just pure ignorance. It's not the
mm,
stupidity. It's systematic of things that's been going on for years. Just
mm,
think about it in this manner. In 19 you just got the right to vote in 1970. I was like
mm.
4 years away from being born. You know what I mean?
Right?
So
Yeah.
it's not that far away that things, and that didn't change anything really.
Yeah.
It
Really.
just started changing. Like they had to stand up and take accountability. Now, after years and years of hiding things and taking education and thing, now you got to try to catch up to the process. And then there's other systematic things that are put in the process, like welfare,
Mm.
redlining, all kinds of different
Things
things.
that they use to keep you, and also too, because you were able to vote, saying that it didn't have much of an effect, but because you had the vote, politicians now are trying to pander to you to get your vote.
To get the vote, and
So
that
so I mean
also puts it
that
in crazy
what
vote.
yeah, which helps you but doesn't help you because they want to keep you in a state of mind where you're not thinking critically. They just want you, hey, vote for me. I'll say
Yeah,
whatever, just vote for me.
and
You
it's
know.
just one of those things that they have to actually. I hope you told them, make sure you do some research or come on here and let's have a conversation about it,
Yeah,
so
right,
I
of
can
course.
tell them what it's what the facts are. And it's just one of those things that has to be dealt with and has to be looked at. I think, as far as just speaking on that, I think we talked about that before because it's a big conversation that the politicians are using now, is like reparations. When we're talking the first reparation that there has to be, it's not about money. It has to be that this happened.
Yeah,
Like,
right. It has to
no,
be the
people
acknowledgement.
are not crazy when they're saying this is why these things are happening, and people be like, "Oh, that's not true. It's fair. Everything's fair." That's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's not facts. It's not true. Like, these things affected generations of people, and it's going to take generations to fix. So,
Mm.
but that's one thing that you just got done saying, the voting process. They're using that now and saying, "Oh, I believe in reparations," knowing goddamn well that that's not going to happen.
Happen, right? Exactly,
You know
because
what I mean?
because it's a conflict of interest for them and everybody else in
Right.
Congress, right?
Yeah.
Um, and we were talking about targeting people being targeted. Let's
Hmm.
switch gears about the Dominican Republic
Oh
and
yeah.
people, because we were saying about how black people might be the targets of. Now we got people, American people, because
Americans.
I was gonna say white people, but then I realized that Big Poppy was one of the people that got attacked in the Dominican Republic, and he's not white, so
Oh yeah, I think
yes.
those are two different scenarios.
Mm,
He
okay.
got mistaken for somebody else.
Oh,
Caught the
okay.
guys, and they thought. they feel like dummies right now. They didn't realize that was a great Dominican hero was Big
Really? Yeah,
Pop.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're gonna off him? Like what? You're gonna like off
Yeah.
like you guys is like you're I mean, what would you even call him? He'd be like your Keanu.
Inspirational idol down.
He's your Keanu Reeves. He's your Keanu Reeves, man. Like he's and you're gonna off him? Like man, I
Yeah,
can't
that
believe
I
that.
think that was a total different. I think at first they might have thought that, but once they caught the guys came out and said, "Wait, we just shot Big Poppy. We meant to kill. This is who we got paid to go after."
Man,
So that's, but it's
that's
still a
sad
little,
for them.
yeah,
For them though, even though like you're, I mean, because no one needs to get killed over anything. But I'm just saying, like for them, they gotta feel extra bad because now they're going to jail for a long time because they tried to attempt to murder their country's hero, and
yeah.
they didn't even know it. And they didn't even know it.
They didn't know it, and they're probably going to get killed themselves because they got beat up. They almost got killed. They had some video of them catching up to the people, and they were beating these people. And then finally, they turned them over to police, and then things went that way. But no, it's. I think there's a couple people. There's white and like I think one was black. I think one was like a Dominican himself that frequent the Dominican Republic. Are they being targeted? I don't know, man, because there's like 8 people that been killed, tourists, in the last like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Is it a now? Now here's the thing I'd like to research into is like, have people been getting killed in the Dominican Republic like in the past? Is this just happening now? Because when you think about it, places like the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Puerto Rico, Florida. I'm thinking places that are or Mexico, like Cancun. They're tourist traps. Like
Right.
you get the like you were telling me about how like if I me and you went to like New York City or Erie, like I need to keep my head on a swivel because if I look up, people like the criminals that are looking to rob me and everything, they know you're not from there if you're just like sightseeing. If
Right.
you're looking up because the people that have lived in New York, they've seen it. They've already like they've seen the tops of the
They
buildings.
know it.
They're not even
Yeah.
looking up. So like you want to blend in, right? And that's what you were saying. And I think that's the same thing as when we're talking about the Dominican Republic. Are these like tourist traps where they're singling out the American tourists and people that are going in? They're looking for them. Like it's like a new gang of like thieves and murderers and stuff.
That's what I'm kind of wondering. We wondering, is it that? Is it something like that? And it could be as well. But that's one thing that's always been like you're told that. You're told that when you go on cruises. I've been on cruises to different islands, Jamaica and something. They try to tell you, hey man, don't go off the resort. Don't listen to anything that isn't like provided by the resort or anything like that, or listen to a guide or listen to somebody that's from the cruise or resort that because there is people out there that are waiting for you to go off the beaten path
And
and then get you.
then get
So,
you,
but
rob you,
these are
whatever.
happening inside the resorts.
Oh,
Yeah, like in their rooms.
okay. So I don't know, man. I mean, that has to be some kind of criminal syndicate then. Like it has to be some group of people that are planning these things out because they have to have some kind of like mode of operation
Yeah, and
to me.
catch the like and
But
get
why
like some.
the motivation though? That's what I don't
Yeah,
understand. Is the motivation like is it country based? Is it like is it like uh, a nationalist based? Like you're from here, or is it like I know you have money because you obviously came on this cruise vacation or whatever.
mm-hmm.
So is it that way? That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like is that based off that?
I or is it just a serial killer? We've seen this
Right.
before. There was actually a couple episodes on a couple shows like I watched that talk about some. There's been serial killers that it's known to target in these countries, target tourists. It happens many a times. There was another thing that was brought up a couple days ago or yesterday, I think it was, that they think that these resorts might have been, since people are dying in the room and the connection that they have is that everybody is drinking, using a mini bar in the room, and most people are being found in their room and they're getting the same type of symptoms. Does that did they buy some bootleg liquor that has some kind of, you know what I mean? And these
Some kind
people
of
have
stuff in
drinking.
it.
Yeah. Could it be something like that?
Laced it like they put something in the alcohol or whatever.
Or
Like
it's
a
just bad poison alcohol. Like there's no intention behind it. Like I don't
yeah
think
right.
anybody has an intention behind it. I just think they were trying to save money, so they bought some bullshit, and it ended up being something detrimental. Uh,
No good.
yeah. So who knows? All I know is I will not be visiting the Dominican Republic
anytime soon. Definitely
until
not.
Big Poppy's well and he says it's okay.
Okay. Yeah, right. What I was gonna say is, you know what? Maybe you should just go around Big Poppy because I don't think anybody's gonna make that mistake twice.
Oh no, no,
If
no.
we go down, we'll just have to like get a hold of Big Poppy. Hey, Big Poppy, like, can we come down with you? Because no one's making that mistake twice. No one's gonna go, oh yeah, kill Big Poppy, thinking he's somebody else. Like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen.
If it did, that's it. Big Poppy is like Big Poppy. He's gonna have to disown his whole country. Be like, nah, I can't mess with you
I
guys.
can't
No
go
more.
back. I
I'm
can't go
sorry.
back.
I'm sorry. It's like it's nothing against you, but like I've been stabbed and shot twice now. You know, like I can't.
Well, the one of the people that of the 8 was like what's her name from the Shark Tanks, Barbara from the Shark Tanks, the show the Shark Tanks,
Uh-huh.
was her brother. Her brother was
Oh
one of the
no.
tourists that passed away in it.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was like it was so there's no target like there's no like you can say oh it's just
Specifically, who it is.
they just know it's a spike of Americans. What are you over there doing? Taking pictures and shit?
Yeah, taking some pictures, you know, for the Instagram. But let's get into the final portion of our video today. So we're gonna do a little breakdown of a video that Coach found for us of a woman, uh, a woman. No, it wasn't a woman. Coach, what was it? A daughter. Their daughter had grabbed and stolen. This is the story that goes off of the post. A daughter had stolen a doll from like a dollar store, and then the lady was saying essentially like they drove away from the said dollar store, and then they were going to an apartment complex, and then the cops found them and began to use force essentially. But you
Yeah,
said
it's
there's more to the
essentially.
story. But you said there's more to the story than than meets the eye.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying there's more to it.
Okay, gotcha.
Mainly the police.
Mainly the police. Okay. Of course they're all because I was thinking about before I start showing the video. I was gonna say is I was thinking about it. I think that people are going, especially the police. They have their own interests. Of course
Right.
they're going to say those things. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like that's
They're gonna say more. That's why I think that everybody should to combat that for the police, actual good police that are getting accused. To combat that, just make sure there's cameras on everything.
yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead now and actually pull this up for everybody to watch. So, all right. I think it's a little excessive. I just hear the cop go, "Get your fucking hands up!" And
Yeah.
this is over a doll. This is over a doll.
Well, what they're saying is, I don't even think that, like, at this particular where they're at, I'm not sure where they're at. They're not at the scene. And the police are saying that they left the scene and they got their information. And then they asked them, they lit them up to pull over to find out what the situation was. And so they're saying, the police are saying that's why they're so aggressive and irritating because they didn't listen and that there was a person that was with them. How they would know that, I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Like, how would they would know if somebody had a warrant that they didn't know, like who was there or whatever? They just had an explanation. They said he stole something. All these things which they're denying at this particular point, the passengers that are getting it, they're denying what the police are saying happened. So, but just like you said before, that the police are always going to have, to try to protect their image when they know that they're wrong.
Right. All right, so let's continue watching.
Police? Yeah.
You're gonna fucking get shot! Get your fucking hands up!
The fucking dude's voice cracks me up. He sounds like he's going through puberty. He's like, "Get your fucking hands up!"
It sounds like he's scared to death, yo. Like of what?
Of what though? Exactly. Because at this point, you hear the guy. He's like, "The door won't open. I promise you, it won't open." And it makes me go, "Okay, so your car door's not gonna open?" Like I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on, right?
Yeah, it's a normal thing that could happen. Like no crook that's gonna try to kill you is gonna set you up in that manner. Like, look, the door won't open. The door.
The door open. He's like, "Make the door open." Bang bang. He just whips out a pistol and shoots you. Like, you know what I mean? Like the whole little like distraction. Like waves the wand in one hand and pulls the gun out in the other. Like, what is he? Quick draw McGraw?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't-
just
I
it's
don't
just
buy it.
outrageous at this point.
Get out the fucking
Now look, another cop
Get
shows
out the
up,
fucking car.
put a gun on him.
Like sticking
Yeah,
the
get out
gun,
now.
like it's just crazy.
Well, here's the thing. All right, so even if they have a warrant for this, whoever else is in this vehicle, right? And the original crime they got called for was for a dollar store theft of a doll from a little girl. A little girl stole a doll, right? Even if that was the case. And then I believe before we started the show, you said something that maybe a guy brought in he maybe stole a pack of underwear too.
Right. Yeah, that's what's being said
That's
in
what's being
today's
said
report.
In today's report, yeah. Now, even if that's the case, there's no need to use deadly force on somebody. Do you know what I mean? Hell, if I was a cop, I'm just being honest, and like that was the case, I would just be like, "Are you shitting me?" I would go up and I would pull these people over and I would talk to them. I said, "You guys really stole underwear and a doll? Like, come on."
Yeah.
And then I would be like, "Well, listen." I was like, "Here's what I'm gonna do." I'd probably just go into the dollar store, and like pay for their doll and their underwear. I said, "Don't steal anymore." I said, "If I catch you again, you're getting in trouble. But I'll pay for your stupid doll and your underwear." You know what I mean? Like, you must be struggling or something that you really need to steal this stuff. I don't know why, but whatever. Like just don't do it again.
It's teachable moments. It's one of those things that you practice community policing at that point.
Right.
And discovering, okay, I have to run you guys. You committed a crime. I have to do something because the store is you just stole it from their store.
Right.
Well, let me find out what the scenario is without jamming fucking guns in your face and kids' faces and stuff like
Right,
that.
especially kids. There's kids in the vehicle. Like I think there's another video that we'll watch that shows that shows like other parts of it. Like I'm just gonna kind of speed through it now. So right here we have the guy the guy that was in the car right here. He's like pinned up against there.
Yeah, and he's yelling at him, telling him like, "You do what the fuck I tell you to do, and listen." But that's one of the things.
And the guy's saying to him right now, you can hear him, the black guy saying, "I am complying, officer. I'm here." I'm like, I'm right up against the car, like.
And that's a thing that where it has to change in the police's aggressiveness pulling up to a scene, especially about something dumb like this. Now, if you're coming and it's a gunshot, I understand that you have to come in hot, tactical. You have to come in like, I'm not asking you no fucking questions. I got to secure this area. I got to find who has the gun. I understand that. But it's like something that is minimal of the things that they do. You need to have better training when it comes to something that is not hostile, that you're making hostile.
Right. So this is the other view. I haven't seen this yet. This is the other view that someone shot from like above another person, the tenant, at the balcony of the apartment. So I think this is what we just saw. There he is. He's up against the thing. Oh, he kicks out his leg.
Just pure. That's evilness right there.
Where the girl at?
Like they're being animals. They're not being.
Oh yeah.
They're not protecting and serving. They're irritated for whatever reason, and they're taking it out.
Look at this
out of
though.
Procedure.
Look at this. I think the cop is going for the gun on his hip, and then right there's the little girl, and that woman's holding a baby, I believe, and he's got his hand on his hip with a gun, and he's pointing at her. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really not that big a deal. There's already 3 cops. Like, what are the kids gonna beat the shit out of you?
Right.
Are you
and
worried
then you
the
see
kid...
this cop. If you look at the cop that has the cop that they're with the man at the back of the car, you see the other cop with him. Why? If it was that serious, if they were that serious, that cop would be clearing that car with that other cop.
Right.
Not looking at a man that's already in handcuffs.
Right. Exactly. Let's continue watching.
Oh, look at these kids.
And the disrespect, yeah,
Y'all
they have
get
some
it.
disrespect.
Can I get the babies? Excuse me? Can I get the kids?
The woman filming's asking to get the kids.
Excuse me? Officer,
Duffy,
can I
shut
get
up.
the kids?
Duffy, go get her kids.
Can I
Go get her kids. Duffy, go get her kids. Hurry up. He needs to slow down, and those kids is right there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just
Like they're gonna try and like you know like basically like strap this woman down, like tackle her with a baby in her arms. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, again, and like I reiterate that this is over a damn doll, a warrant, and an underwear at the most, from what we know. A
yeah.
doll, underwear, and a warrant at the most.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was that it. That's it, pretty much, isn't it?
No, I mean, we can fast forward a little bit. I guess I'll just skim through it and see. They're it's just showing them with that guy over there. They take the woman and her kids and they walk her over here. It looks like
Okay, yeah, show that.
So they're taking the kids. So at least that was the woman filming. She went and took the kids. So that's good. And they're arresting her now. But like they should have did like this whole segment right here, where like right before that, where they were like touching the woman, like trying to like take the kid out of her arms. Like, don't. You should have just said, hold on, like we'll get something. And then look, she came down, she grabbed the kids, and then you do what you got to do. Which, by the way, it still looks like like crazy. Like, as soon as they took the kid out of her arms, like, look, watch this. I don't know. I want to see this.
Yeah, it's automatically like.
As soon as the kid was out of her arms, ripped her away, snap, took her arms on her back.
Yeah, it's just it's a crazy situation.
Yeah, like you almost can't get behind something like that. You just can't. I mean, it's insane to me. Like, like I said, I always say this because I come from a town where there's small town cops. I don't think all cops are bad. I really don't. And for the majority of them, I think they're okay. But you see stuff like this all the time, and it gets a lot of attention. And I think it's because there is a problem with police officers that treat people of color or I haven't. Yeah, I mean, people of color just poorly.
Yeah, I think yes. Like statistics show that it is a very aggressive. Where this happened at in Arizona, Phoenix, I guess Phoenix, right? Phoenix, Arizona, where this happened at last year, there was 44 cop involved shootings. That's the highest in the nation. So, in saying that when the investigation came out, when the police department finally made their statement, they said they're going to look into it. They apologized for this behavior. They added some sensitivity class or de-escalation classes for them. I'm like, why don't they already have those type
44 things? Well, if they did it 44 other fucking times, I think the classes aren't working and you got to do something else, right? Maybe there's something wrong with the people at your police department. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe
or the police training, period.
Right.
The police training is period. We talked about this. You could, Dev, we could go, I think that we could be an officer before we can be a fucking barber.
Yeah. No, we could. What is it, like 12 months? Something to be a...
You got to put in like so many hours to cut some hair. But nah, you could go here, take this gun and go out in the streets and tell people they must obey you. They must obey you. And the disconnect that I have with people, like, believe me, trust me, I am not the person that hates the police, man. I hate dirty fucking cops. I really hate them. I've dealt with them all my life, living in the areas where I come from. I've been a part of some things. Yes, I was in times where, I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, and there's times that I wasn't doing anything. So I understand I put myself at high risk. But cops that are dirty, I don't have no respect for them at all. And there's a lot of them. And the disconnect of what people see when they see these things, you get people that say, oh, well, they should have just listened. Or where's the rest of the video? What happened before that? These cops obviously came in hot. They came in like, you're not listening to us. You're going to obey us. And they weren't following procedure.
Yeah,
it's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. And like we said, like based off what we have reports on, like everything sounds like this was totally overhandled. You know what I mean? Like it'd be different if maybe Family Dollar called and said they held us at gunpoint and stole a doll in underwear, which even at that point I would be laughing because I think those would be the dumbest criminals I ever heard of in my life. Like at the register, like, yo, give me.
We gotta get you down.
All right, come here.
We gotta get you down. We need this doll and pack of underwear, fruities.
Like,
we need this pack of Fruity Alloons.
He looks at his daughter. Pick out your one. Pick out your fucking doll. Pick it out. Pick it out. All right, don't you
give me a pack of tidy whities too.
Yeah, I need a pack of tidy whities. Yeah, yes, with the bugs on them. I'm not fucking playing. I want the one with the dinosaurs on it. Yes. Yep.
Oh
I want
my
them.
god.
and then they
Yeah.
bounce. And then, like I said, a warrant. And, whatever the warrant's out for, that's not how you handle it, especially if it's like a bench, because if it's a bench warrant, it's just like, oh, it's collateral. There's no need to hold him at gunpoint. What was the warrant for? She murdered 17 people in one fucking, because you think they would have caught her by now? Guess not, huh?
Yeah, and I think it would be a before and after thing. Like, why? What was happening before? Like when people say that, I'm the first to agree on certain things. I'm not the person that doesn't
Watches
have
the
a
video and just says
yeah.
that, oh, let's look at the brutality, but it's like, well, what happened before? Like,
Right.
what's
You
the
gotta
context?
really really gotta look into certain things because certain parts that are missing could we know how that is being in editing and you just don't get the whole story. You can omit
Mm-hmm.
things or you can add things. So and knowing that these things like where's the rest like the recording, like I'm not that person that does that. I try to make sense to make logical sense of a situation,
Mm-hmm.
but when you're like you said all those things that were mentioned about what I'm looking at, like what were the police officers doing before that they're this riled up over something
Mm-hmm.
this stupid.
Yeah,
Like
right.
what were they doing before this that got them in this scenario? Maybe they had a
Mm-hmm.
call that went wrong. Somebody got away and they're pissed off and they take it out on the next person, which
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've experienced that before. I shared that with you where there was a scenario where there was a lot of people fighting. It was in my own yard, and then cops jumped out, and I was just standing there. And I didn't say anything to anybody. They didn't ask me a question. And one cop just came up and grabbed me. And I kind of like slapped his hand away, and that was enough for that. That's what he wanted. And they kind of roughed me up, threw me in a car, and arrested me. I later beat it because he had no reason to talk to me because
Yeah, yeah.
it was my property. I didn't have to say shit to him. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just that aggressiveness. They come in aggressive. People don't understand that are living in their rich neighborhoods. They come through and say, "Hey, how you doing, neighbor?" Pull over and stop and talk to you. Our neighborhoods, where I'm
Mm-hmm.
from, in the poorer neighborhoods, they don't do that. They're coming through with intimidation, uh, aggressive tactics. They're not having. It's just poor community policing.
Yeah,
Poor,
right.
poor, poor.
Yeah, right. And like I said, it makes it, and I think that aggressive behavior makes it harder to sympathize and cooperate with your police officers because, me and you always talk about, yeah, they're there to uphold the law and stuff, but I mean, they're also like they're there to be a part of your community and help better it. And you're
Right,
gonna go in there like you're gonna automatically assume every person is like a scumbag criminal when you go in that they need roughed up
right.
beforehand. Like it doesn't jive with me at all. I mean that's just one of those things where like I don't understand it because every cop encounter I've ever had, cops have been the nicest could be, but I understand it because I see it. I just witnessed it. It's total overkill.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I think a lot of people like, and also, like we know the numbers. We know the numbers that statistically it's happening to people of color in certain areas. Yes, there is people that and the media is playing a big part on blowing it up to keep that divisiveness against us that they always do. It happens to everybody, but we're saying in certain communities, I usually get the people that say, this, and that. They don't have the problems that are in these inner cities where a lot of this stuff happens. So you're not going to have the police presence. You're not going to have the aggressiveness of them. They're just going to be, I'm glad we got this route today. It's nice and chill up here. We don't have to do nothing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Well, that's about all I got, Coach. You got anything else?
nah, pretty much that's all it is today, bro.
Yeah. I mean, no, we talked about a lot of things today. I mean, like I said, it was a good conversation. Like I said, hey guys, I appreciate y'all. If any of you guys want to stop by, leave a comment. Tell us what you think about police brutality, equal pay for women's sports, Anthony Davis. I mean, I know a lot of our fans are sports fans, and they have an opinion on that. And the whole Americans getting targeted by in the Dominican Republic. Leave a comment. Tell us what you think. Leave a like. We appreciate a like. Support equals support, man. Just leave a like. It helps us out. And also, as always, stay beautiful and have a great, blessed day.
What the fuck happened to your voice?
I kind of wanted to. You know what I wanted to do? I wanted to do the what was that voice I was doing before the show? I can't remember it now. Oh, we were talking about the social justice warriors. And you'd say like the guy behind the camera always sounds like
yeah,
like he's
yeah.
some weak guy. He's like, yeah, I know my rights. Don't you put your stick in me,
Yeah.
sir. That was what I was trying to
So-
go for.
I just want to see them to turn around the camera on those people one day and see what they look like and be like, what the fuck are you doing out here harassing the fucking police and saying I know my rights, because they sound weird as shit, yo.